All right, so we're going to continue with the slope fields. I'm going to show you how to identify a slope field given a few different equations of the slope. All right, let's make sure you can see everything here. So we got three different possible slopes, equations of the slopes, and then we have three possible slope fields, and we're trying to match them. So I'm going to make a slope field for the first one, which is x plus y, and I'm going to try to figure out which one of the three could be x plus y. All right, hopefully you can see this. So x, y, and the slope. Okay, so I'm going to just sort of try and come up with a pattern to see what would satisfy x plus y. So I'm going to pick, for x, I'll pick -1. All right, so for -1, if x is -1 and I'll say y is 0, then the slope has to be -1. So now I'm going to come up with a bunch of different scenarios that would get me -1. So another one is if I had -2 and 1, that would get me -1. And -3 and 2, that would get me -1. So those are the situations that would get me -1. So the point -1, 0 has a slope of -1. The point -2, 1 has a slope of -1, and the point -3, 2 has a slope of -1 as well. So now we're just going to go through the different slopes and see which one would fit this. All right, so -1, 0. -1, 0 is right here. That looks like it could be a -1 slope. And -1, 0, that looks like it could be a negative slope as well. -1, 0. Oh, there's no mark here. So C definitely can't be option 1. All right, let's go to the next one. -2, 1 has to be -1. So -2, 1 has to be -1. Okay, that looks good. -2, 1, that looks good too. So I may not have enough information at this point. Let me check the other one. Let's see, -3, 2. That looks like it could be -1, 2, and -3, 2. All right, so let's see. We've got a little problem here because it's not matching. So why don't we pick something that is definitely different and see if it will match either one of these grids. So if you look, the difference between these two grids, this has a completely horizontal line here at all these points. So that means that at these points here, the slope has to be 0. And if you look at these points here, slope is definitely not 0. So let's see what happens over here. So let me try to make one of those points. So this is 0, 1. All right, so I'll make a table again for this. 0, 1 will give me a slope of 1 because it's x plus y. So at 0, 1, this has a 0 slope. So that's not true because the 0, 1, the slope has to be 1. So let's look over here. At 0, 1, the slope is 1 for B. So, okay, good. So for my answer choice I, this has to be x plus y. That slope field represents x plus y. All right, let's keep going. Let's make a slope field for x now. All right, so when I make a slope field for x, y prime or slope equals x, no matter what y value I choose, for x, it will match the slope. So if I pick, let's go with 2. If I have x is 2, if y is 1, then the slope is 2. If y is 2, the slope is 2. If y is 3, the slope is 2. It doesn't matter because there's no y in this equation. So no matter what I choose for x, if x is 2, it's going to match the slope. Likewise, if x is 1, then the slope is going to be 1. If x is 4, the slope is going to be 4. And so on. If x is -1, the slope is going to be -1 because it says x is equal to the slope. All right, so let's see which one could match that. So at 1, the slope would have to be positive 1. So at 1, the slope is 1. So at all values of 1, the slope is 1. At 2, the slope would be 2, so a little more steep. At 3, the slope would be 3. At 0, the slope would be 0. At -1, the slope would be -1. At -2, the slope would be -2. So I found my y prime equals x. That's answer choice A. All right, and then obviously there's only one answer choice left, but let's just confirm it. Okay, so if I make a table of values for option 3, option 3 is, oh my God, my kids are screaming, sorry. No matter what x I choose, it doesn't matter because the slope is going to match y. So every value of y will match the slope. And x could change. So x could be 0, 1, 2, 3. It doesn't matter. If this y value is 3, then my slope is going to be 3 as well. If my y value is 2, then my slope is going to be 2. If my y value is -1, my slope is going to be -1. So my slope is dependent on my y. So let's see. For all y values of 1, the slope has to be 1. So these are all 1 values. All 1s. See, more steep at 2, more steep at 3, more steep at 4. -1, -2, -3, -4. So C has to be y prime equals y. So you just have to sort of make a table and see which values match this slope field that's already created. So I'll give you a few to try, and then you can always message me on chat if you're confused.